Today I'm going to show you how to colorize black and white photos. Hello my friends, and let's get started. This topic was requested by one of my patrons, and you might wonder why there is a color photo here. And the reason for that is when you're a beginner at colorizing black and white photos, it's much better to start out with a color photo and set it to black and white and then recolor it, because that way you can really learn about color and how to use it. And another thing, if you want to do a lot of this and you want to do a lot of retouching and editing in photo programs, I would suggest to you get one of these graphic tablets. Wacom is a pretty good company which has a lot of experience over many years and is used by most of the designers. And as you can see here in this picture, it's a pretty small one, so those are pretty cheap, like 80 bucks, 90 bucks, something like that. And you don't even need a bigger one. If you're not doing digital painting where you do complete paintings, this smaller one is actually used by most designers and people in ad agencies because it doesn't clog up your desk and it's very handy to work with. And you can see here here there are some gimmicks that you can save on. For example, there's a Bluetooth version which is 100 bucks and there's a no Bluetooth version for 80 bucks. And since you're sitting on a desk anyway, why would you need Bluetooth? So just use the one with a cable and save a lot of money. Okay, so let's get started here. And I want to show you some other tricks that are really important to use this. One that you might want to use or might want to play around with is create a rectangle on your screen and set it to gray. So go here to grayness and set the grayness to 50%, so it's right in the middle. The reason for 50% is that colors on a 50% gray look like they actually look. They don't look darker or brighter than they would on a black background or on a white background. And what you do with that is you can now pick colors from the picture and, undo. Okay, I have to create a pixel layer first. There we go. And now I can color pick from the picture and I can use my brush to make a little dot here to paint on here. Let's set hardness to 100 and the size is okay. And now I can paint on here. And this means when I need to use the color again, I can just come back to this point here. So you can pick a lot of colors that you might want to use later on and just make yourself a little palette that you can save with the file so you know what kind of colors you have worked with. And you can even set them in a position where they are close to where you pick them, so you can make a little head shape up here with all these different colors. So this will help you a lot in getting back to the colors that you wanted to use. So this is one of the tricks. The other one that I want to show you, let's make this rectangle a little bit bigger, is about how to use the brush. And one thing is when you go on the brush, when you click up here on more, you have these dynamic settings and they are important. And you can see right now this is hue jitter, and hue is the different variations inside of a color. This is set to 0. So now when I use a color and make a stroke with it, let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. You can see, no, you can't see because I'm not on the pixel layer. Now you can see it is just one color. And if you look at the skin, you see skin doesn't work that way. Skin has a lot of different colors inside of it. And you can fake that a little bit by going in here and setting the dynamics. And setting the dynamics to, for example, 3%, a really low value. You don't need much. And now when I draw with it, you can see that it makes a variation. It has all these kind of little gaps in it. And it looks strange now, but when you set the hardness to 0% or a low percentage like 20%, you can see, I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can see better. That this fades really well. And now you can see that this is much more skin-like than the stuff you have up here, which is just one very precise color. And skin and nature simply doesn't work that way. So this is a very handy thing to do. Okay, so this is the second trick to use. I will hide this stuff now or maybe delete it. and we will start painting. And one thing I did when I started was to create a mask. So I just used the lasso tool basically and moved along here, and you can just hold your shift key and click and then click again. You can see it makes a straight line, so you can really fast make a selection around these outer edges of the person. I'm not going to finish it yet because I have already done that. And what you want to do is set the, when you have selection, let's make a selection real quick, go here where it says feather and set it to 1 or 2 pixels so it has a softer edge. And then I set one for the person and the second mask for the background. So you can see here, this is just the person, the skin with the hair, and this is just the background. And this enables me, when I draw onto this, that I can't go outside of the borders. Let's take an extreme color, and now when I paint on it, you can see it just stops at the end of the face of the person. So this is really, really handy to work faster and easier. Okay, so I will use these masks on 2 new layers. Let's create 2 new layers real quick. 1 and 2. I will call one of that guy, and the other one I will call sky. There we go, and just pull the masks onto them. There's the first one, there's the second one, and now I can hide the other layers, or I could actually, no, I will just hide them. Okay, now we have black and white pictures, you can see, and we can draw on that. So we can just pick our colors from over here, and this is like a cheat sheet over here that we can use to create our picture. And the first one is very easy, which is just the background with the water. So just pick a color from there that looks good, and then just fill the background with it. And of course, you want to set both of the layers to overlay. So that's pretty important. Set this to overlay, and now I just fill this. Let's make the brush a little bigger, and I will fill all of this with the blue color. Maybe even we need a little bit of a darker color. Let's pick one again. Let's see. We can even go in here. Maybe let's see if we adjust the color a little bit. Will it become too extreme? It looks kind of fake, right? Okay, let's just go with the color that we can pick from the original picture. And this is why I suggest to start with a picture, because it's kind of hard to find the right colors that look and feel right. And I would really suggest that when you start the picture, fill everything with one color, even if it looks fake, even if it looks bad. Let's take one here from the skin and just fill the guy with it. And the reason for that is, when you do this, this gives you a much better feeling of how the color and everything is working out in the picture. So this, of course, looks completely wrong, but it enables you to get a better grip, a better idea of how the rest is going to look like when you apply the other colors. And another thing that I'm doing in this tutorial, normally you would have a lot of different layers, but as a beginner tutorial, I would really suggest to you that you start with just one layer and paint all colors that you have for the skin and for the hair into one layer, because this is a bit more dirty, a bit more messy maybe, but you don't have all that kind of trouble with all the different blending modes and different masks and all the kind of stuff that you would have to look out for when you work with too much stuff. So in the beginning, as when you start off colorizing, you just want to get a feeling of how it works and how to apply color so it feels natural and nice. And when we zoom in here into the picture, you can see there is a lot of stuff going on. Often when you look at other tutorials on the internet, you see that these people or these guys, they just apply 2 or 3 colors to all of it and then leave it like that and say, okay, we are done. So they take a hair color and put a little bit of stuff in here and say, okay, and now we have a colorized picture. And of course, yes, you can end it at that point, but you see it doesn't really work that way, because our skin and the way the skin and the flesh works is in a very different way. So the ears are a bit more red, and then the nose also, and you have different kind of lights and shadows that not only influence the brightness but also the saturation of a color and even the hue of a color. So we want to take this into respect with our tutorial here, and maybe start with the ear, which is a very good example. You can see here there's a lot of different kind of colors going on. So let's take a smaller brush for this. Maybe, let's see, this is a good size, and we will take some of the red color up here and move over here and see what we can do. So let's click here again and put this in here. Maybe this is a bit too extreme. I will zoom out a little bit so we can see both of them, and faster color pick on that. Maybe use one of these colors here and put that on there. So let's fill this ear here. And a lot of stuff might look wrong at the first start when you put the color on. It might look clownish and strange, but what you want to do over time is blend the colors with each other so that you have multiple colors on the same, in the same area, basically. So what we're going to do next is we're going to reduce the opacity by a lot. Maybe we set it to 20%. There we go. Make the brush even smaller because there's a lot of small details in here. And now I'm going to pick a different color that's a lot brighter from this kind of area here. And I can brush over this to, okay, let's make it even smaller. Let's go back on this to bring this out. And you can see, this starts to look a lot better and a lot more interesting all of a sudden, because we mix some colors into this that make it more natural, as you can see. So let's take some of this really dark red over here and put it in here. There we go. And then maybe put some of there. We have some very dark stuff here in the darker areas of the ear. And you can see that this starts to look pretty good. It will always look like a colorized picture. I can tell you that right now. Even if you would have the perfect colors from the original picture, it still looks like a colorized picture. So don't expect this and this to look 100% the same, because this is not going to happen. You can try this by just taking the original picture, blur it a little bit, and put it over this with a set to overlay. And you will see, because it's overlay, because it's a blend mode, this will already influence the look and feel of the picture. So it will not look exactly like that, but that's okay, because we are looking for a colorized black and white picture feel. So this is what we want, right? So there we go. Let's take a little bit more of this color. And you can see now you can play around here for hours to get this stuff right and put the color where it should be and make this feel right. So this is really, you can go with this as deep as you want and put a lot of time into that to make it feel good, make it feel right. So yeah, it's, I don't know, you can start and finish at any point that you feel this is good enough, that feels good enough. But again, I would suggest to you, try to layer different kind of colors to get more feeling, to get it more natural, and always kind of try to compare it to original. Not 100%, of course, but to a certain degree. And you can see we can even use the red from the ear here, because over here it's kind of hard to pick the colors. And this is also something that you learn when you work with these colors by picking it from a color picture, is that they are not what they seem to be to our eyes, because they are next to other colors. So they are different. So here you might find that none of this is a red color. All of these are different kinds of browns, more a little bit of reddish brown, but nothing is completely red or pink as it kind of looks to us. And you see this also with the color picker, that it doesn't really change to anything that is too red. Let's try to have a good color over here and see if we can bring some of the redness here onto the nose and maybe also onto the rest of the skin a little bit. I make my brush bigger and bring some red hue to it so it feels more alive, more natural. There we go. And basically, oh, okay, now here's a sunburn. That was a little bit too much. Basically, colorizing a picture is going back and forth to find really the right kind of values where you feel like, okay, this looks the way I want it to look. This feels the way I expect it to feel. So, because, like I said, skin is a complicated matter, and the way things to make it feel natural is also not that easy. So it's a lot of experimenting and trying to put layer upon layer to try to get the right kind of colors in there. Let's put some more on here. And I think I will move on now to the lips and to the hair. So I'm not doing this 100% in this tutorial because, like I said, you can really spend a lot of time getting this right. So I just want to show you the concept of how this is done and how you can achieve this. And the rest of it is just going back and forth to try to get it right. So let's put some color here on the lips and then also put some shadow color on here. And you can see always when you start to put on the first bit of color, it always looks completely wrong. And you always feel like, no, this can't be right. But then when you mix it with some other colors, it starts to feel a lot better. So don't get confused by this kind of way. And you see when you zoom out already, it looks a lot better. There, let's go with this and put in here some kind of a more shadow. Make this a little bit bigger and less opacity, of course. There we go. And less opacity always gives you the chance to move over it, to brush over it several times to get a good feeling for what it looks like, what it feels like, and to make it look more natural. And this is pretty okay, I would say. This is pretty nice. I want to move on now to the hair up here, and we can again pick some colors from over here and then try to mix in different other colors, because this makes it really more alive and more real to the eye and to how this feels. So let's start out with this. Brush this in here, and you can see when you use a lot of strokes, and you can even look at the original pictures, where is the light coming from and where is some brighter areas and where some dark areas. For example, up here we have some more blonde hair, and here's more some kind of brown or even reddish hair. You can now brush in here with some blonde colors. Let's give me some more opacity like this. And the more you work on this, of course, the more it starts to look real and interesting and give you a better effect. So this is really a thing that takes a lot of time to colorize pictures. But if this is your passion or you just want to try it out, give it a chance and play around with it for some time to get it somewhere where you want to have it or where it feels interesting to you. You can see here by just putting in different kinds of shades and hues, the hair can start a lot to look a lot more natural and like a good colorization job. Of course, down here, I still have a lot of my skin color, which I painted in before. So this, we have to brush this out. Oops, I put a little bit on the ear. That was not the right thing to do. Let's zoom in here a little bit to get the detail down a little bit better. There we go. Very nice. Also back here. And you can see the mask really saves me from having to clean this up later on. So this is a lot quicker and easier to do. And over here we can use some light opacity with the skin color to blend this in a little bit. Let's go back to my brush. Very low opacity, and try to brush over this a little bit so we have this kind of feeling of skin is looking through from behind of it. And you can already see that the hair starts to look pretty nice. Let's take some of this color over here, put it up in this end. I make my brush stroke a little bit smaller. There we go. And it could actually use some more of kind of an orange color. I don't know why all of these colors are so... okay, this is better. Let's give me some more opacity. There we go. I can even go down here and then bring back some of the brown color afterwards. So let's see. And you can see by just having different kinds of colors layered on top of each other, this becomes much more alive than it would otherwise be. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger again and blend this in here. And of course, if you want to, you can always use your smudge tool down here to move the colors and blend them a little bit better. You can go in here, you see, and just, if you have some strokes visible, you can just move in here and move it around a little bit to blend the strokes together. So let's make this here a little bit darker. And then up here we have some skin again. So let's take some skin color. What is it like? Maybe some of over here. And just lightly try to put this in here with a smaller brush. Low opacity. There we go. And just try to get a little bit of this in here. Maybe even reduce the brush a bit more. So there we go. Okay. And move it up here. And now I can again pick some of this color, make it a little bit bigger to a bit more. Reduce the effect again where the hair is starting. There we go. Okay, so this is in principle the process. You can see you can spend hours on doing this and perfecting this and getting the colors right. But basically, this is the process of how to do this and to go back and forth, like I said, to get the right colors in here and to make it feel the way you think it feels right. So because this is, again, most of these things are often an artistic choice of where do you want to go and what kind of feeling do you want to recreate with the picture, with the black and white picture, because a lot of different styles and a lot of ways people research that. Okay, so thank you very much for this kind of intro on how to colorize black and white pictures. This is more of a starting point on how to do that, an exercise on getting a feel for color. So thank you for watching. If you like my channel, I do a new video. I do 2 videos a week, so maybe subscribe. And if you want to support me even more, head over to Patreon, where you get a lot of benefits in addition to that, and also the files with all the layers. Okay, thank you for watching and see you in the next episode. Bye.